What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dad Life. Today we're going to introduce a new feature called Cup with Dad. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink and let's talk sales. Enjoy the video. Alright guys, so of course first we need a little background other than what do I do. So I actually do outside residential sales, work for home security systems to residential new homeowners. Before that, I actually worked for Comcast Cable for 11 years, doing residential sales with a small stint at business-to-business sales, which was still, business-to-business, face-to-face interaction. Shooting for one-call closes, of course, it's a lot harder to do one-call closes in the business world because they're not just jumping to sign. Whereas residential, you have greater opportunities for one-call closes, where if anything, at least one appointment and then, close the deal there. As you'll hear, Luca Bear, he's crawling on the floor because he just ate his baba. Fresh diaper. I got the dog, I got the kids, it's a packed house in this kitchen. So, today we're going to talk about just briefly handling the first objection, especially this time of year. Personally, I think this would apply to phone sales, for mortgages, for auto, home insurance, and then of course anything with outside sales or closing appointments, things like that. And it's the time of the holidays, or I can't do anything till the new year. How do we overcome those objections? So some of the things you have to do with overcoming any objection, of course, is you have to acknowledge the reason behind the objection. So if a homeowner, or if your potential client, say hi, if he or she says something like, hey, thank you so much for the information and blah, 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 but I can't do anything till after the holidays. And then they'll be like, I have so much going on. Well, typically what most of us will do, because it's easy to do, and it's kind of like that human nature. Oh, yeah. As we all know with kids, there's no free time to do anything like this. Wait, but you just want to be a part of it. That's cool. And he wants some of my hot coffee. So, in terms of overcoming the objection, you can't just be like, hey, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand you have a lot going on. So do I. Anyway, and then go right into selling. So a lot of us, we in our head, especially when we analyze the situation after the fact, be like, oh man, no, I totally used empathy, and I totally made it, more realistic, more human side of things. You actually just scratched the surface. So basically you just said to them like, yeah, I hear you. I got a lot going on. So what? That's what the customer heard. No matter how you delivered it, no matter how your tone was, how your inflection was, how your excitement was, you basically just said, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I get it. So what you have to actually do is you have to, one, be genuine. So always feel genuine, always be genuine while you're trying to, meet people and then obviously proceed through a sales process. But you have to be truthful. If you feel that they're not going to make any legitimate moves until January, and you dug down and you found out their reasonings, then sometimes you have to realize that it is better to just make the appointment versus what we would call blowing up the lead or just giving up on them and trying and pushing and then turning that person off, not only to you but possibly even the company you work for or the idea of it. And we're back. So basically some of the things you want to do is you obviously want to first acknowledge. So let's just say they say, Dante, can't do anything till after the new year. That's the famous line this time of year. So you're acknowledged. Mrs. Jones, I completely understand why you'd be thinking you cannot do anything until after the new year. So that's the acknowledgement. Then what you want to do is make yourself human, bring in real life situations, and show some empathy and caring. Maybe something like this. Mrs. Jones, I completely understand why you wouldn't want to make any moves till after the new year. I know myself right now, this time of year, no matter if I buy gifts early, I still feel like I'm always stressed. I feel like I didn't buy enough. I feel like I'm running out of time. I gotta wrap gifts. I gotta find time to hide the gifts. And then even after all that, I still feel like, did I buy the right gifts for the right people? Can I afford to buy more gifts? Did I go over budget? Things like that. So now you basically showed the human side, like we're in this together. Just because I'm a salesman either on the phone or standing in front of you at your door of business, I get it. But then you want to also do something known as a tie down, a lockdown, a buy-in, a temperature check. So let's just say your product is selling kids little treats. I won't name it, but you know what they are. So something like this. So down the road, when you guys, when everything settles down in January, do you feel like you guys would be looking into, moving forward with the purchase of the edible kids treats that every little baby loves? And then silence. What everyone forgets, obviously I'm talking now, but what everyone forgets in sales is silence is golden. If you just go right into it like, right, it's easy for them to go, no. Let that simmer. Let them think, do they actually want to look into kids' edible treats in January, or do they really have no interest, no need, no desire, or not enough info to look into it? So you tie them down or you lock them down. So January 1st, you're telling me kids' edible treats is something you and your family would find value in purchasing. Silence. Wait for their answer. Now they're going to give you, realistically, a hard no, meaning they had no interest, or a possibly yes, maybe. Hashtag multitasking, feeding the baby while we do this. Let's start wrapping this up for now. This is our first one, so we don't want to run long. We want to make sure this is concise and to the point. So, again, you get the customer's temperature check they're buying. They say something like, oh my God, totally, Dante. We have been thinking about purchasing stock in edible baby treats, but again, we just have so much going on. 2 avenues from here. You acknowledge, oh, that's phenomenal. That is great. I am so happy to hear that this is something that brings value to your family and something that you guys are looking into. 2 avenues. Appointment. So what I would love to do for you is, what day of the week generally works for you and your family that would both be here to discuss this? And they're going to say something like, I don't know, maybe Mondays, great, cool, Mondays. So you thinking like Monday the 5th of January at, say, 6 o'clock? Is that usually a good time for you and the family? And then they'll give a rebuttal. Again, you're silent. They're going to say yes. Great, awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. Now this is where you take control. You don't say, how about I stop by? How about, can I, should I? They're going to say, we'll call you. Still take control. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab your name and number. I'm going to leave you my contact information. I'm going to actually text you the morning of as a reminder, and I'm going to text you an hour before I head out that way. I do have a lot of homeowners that I'm visiting that day, so all I ask is, for any reason you guys don't find the value, do not want to keep your appointment, please just respond with a simple thumbs down to my text if you don't need me to stop by. What you're doing is you're showing, 1, control of the situation, the appointment, and 2, your time is valuable just like their time, and that you're taking this seriously. So if they do want to bail, if they really have no interest, or they're just being nice to you, this might save you a drive out or a phone call and that type of thing. That's the appointment. Lastly, the second avenue is the urgency of the now. So now you're going to go into something like this. Well, Mrs. Jones, again, you're going to go back to it and you're going to tie it all around. It's very hard feeding a baby and focusing, but this is what sales is. Buddy, why don't you take a bite of this? It's funny how kids always will crave attention when you're doing something. When you're not doing something, they don't care. So Mrs. Jones. Okay, let's go with this. Avenue 2. Mrs. Jones, hey, listen, I completely understand. I'm so happy that in January you and your family are going to look into edible baby treats and the stock. What I'm able to do right now is I'll spend 5 minutes with you, showcase what exactly edible baby treats will bring to your family, and I'll answer any and all questions that you have. What I want to do is I want to actually make sure that this is the right product for you and that this gives your family the best value for the amount you're going to spend monthly, per se. It takes me 5 minutes. I'll answer any and all questions that you guys have. Where would you like to take a seat? Done. What did I just do there? Acknowledged again that she just told me that she wants this product in January and she wants to find value. So I'm using that, hey, you mentioned to me that this is something you want to look into. Then I took control. I didn't say, hey, may I have 5 minutes of your time, or can I come inside, or can we further this conversation over the phone, etc. I just said, here's what I do. So I'm showing like, this is my job, this is why I'm here. What I do is X, Y, Z, I present, I answer any and all questions. So I'm already painting a Bobby Ross. We always have to get Bob Ross. Paint that Bob Ross picture with a huge stroke. Show them with that brush stroke, you're the professional, you know what you're doing, and you're just gonna run this show. And a lot of times they're gonna go, okay, sounds great. Now you just either A, got in their house to go about and to continue the process. You either got into their business, got to the decision maker. Yes. But the main thing is C, or 3, doesn't mean you got the sale by any means. No. The process is just beginning. But it means you won a mini sale. You're able to get to the next steps. You're able to present with a reason, a purpose, and value behind it. So that's that. That is, so far in a nutshell, a long nutshell, overcoming in some instances of time of year, can't do anything until the new year. I am feeding him, everyone. He's just acting like he's not being fed. He also just ate a baba, so I promise I feed my kids. So as always, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this new Little Dad Life segment that we're going to call Cup with Dad. No, how about a cup with Dad? That makes sense. A cup with Dad, which will be sales motivation, sales tips, strategies, and basically how the customer interacts. As always, thank you guys for tuning in and liking the videos and watching the videos. If you have not yet, please hit the subscribe button, throw me a couple thumbs ups, and be sure to drop a comment if you're enjoying this, or maybe even what you might like to see in terms of a Cup with Dad segment. Thank you guys for watching. As always, this is Dad Life.